Good morning. Okay, so, yeah, here I am. I'm still at my house. So yesterday I did a little bit of work at the farm, just very minimal stuff, because Teresa is recovering from the surgery that she's had. And I want to thank everybody that reached out and said, thanks. I want to thank everybody that reached out and wished Teresa a speedy recovery. That was very kind of you. And, it's a tough thing. When you're a kid, it's a no big deal surgery, but when you're 36, that surgery is painful, and my wife is tougher than nails. I mean, she is tougher than any woman I've ever met in my life. She puts her son, our son, above anybody and anything else in this world. And there's pain medication that she would have to take in order for this to feel better and get her the rest that she so truly needs. She's not sleeping well at all. But William is still breastfeeding, and that is very important to her, culturally and just health-wise for William. So she has opted out of the opioid, or the Percocet oxycodone drug that they have prescribed to her. And so I'm here most of the day. I've taken William off of her hands. Yesterday I took him to my mom and dad's to hang out there for a couple of hours and just to get some sleep, because he worries about his mommy. And yesterday afternoon, 24 hours later, he was back on the boob, which is, what she wanted, and it seemed quite rewarding to her. For all the pain that she's going through. But anyway, she's in bed right now. She didn't sleep very well last night, but he was able to eat, which, I think there's a lot of women these days that don't do this just because it's inconvenient, and I don't think they really understand what they're missing out on. See, I've had two wives. My first wife, where Tim, Haley, and Joe came from, they were never breastfed. My first wife was not tolerant of pain at all. I think if there was a little bit of pain in her life, she would find a drug or something to take the pain away. I don't feel pain that much. I mean, I feel pain, but I don't feel it like it debilitates me. And I believe that me and Teresa are pretty much the same way when it comes to that. So she'd rather take the pain than deprive her son of food. But anyways, Tim, Haley, and Joe never breastfed. And my first wife, the minute she could get back to doing whatever it was she was doing at the time, she would, I would take care of the kids. There was a woman down here that babysat, and she would take care of the kids for 3 to 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours a day, while my ex-wife would go do her job. But they just never had that intimate connection with their mother. And I know there's some YouTubers out here, and I know that some of them may be pregnant, and, may be pregnant. I've kind of seen this, and, it's like, I've been around pregnant women before, and the other night I was watching a live stream, and I thought, you know what? And I thought that particular YouTuber, she's pregnant. So, but whatever. I had suspected it before, but I'm pretty sure now. And if she is watching this, as painful as it is, the first few weeks of breastfeeding. Now, I'm a man. I can't feel that pain, but I've experienced it by watching my wife, Teresa, go through that pain of the first few weeks of breastfeeding, and how difficult it is, and how you feel like you're failing your child because there's not much there, and the pumping and the blisters and all the pain that's associated with it. But once you get over that 3 weeks of pain and basically suffering for your child, it becomes very natural for the two of you. He or she will just be like, "Mommy," and you will be, as a woman, you will be prompted by your body to go feed that child. The child cries, then you're going to be leaking all over the place and things like that. It's a very natural thing. So I would encourage you to actually use what your body was intended for. Breasts are not just for horny men; they're for babies. That's what they're for. So there you go. That's what you want to be doing. But anyways, this morning I got up and I got Teresa her ice and her water. She asked me. I mean, I'm trying to be the best husband I can be. Trying to be. She's kind of like, get away from me because she's miserable, but I'm trying to do the best that I can. I don't have my hearing aids in. But she'll be okay, I'm sure. It is a dangerous procedure for somebody that's 36 years old. I shouldn't have drank that coffee. But anyway, so this morning, let's go back to last night. I know somebody says, just forget about the timelines, just tell the story. Well, the story actually follows timelines. Everybody's life follows a timeline, whether it's, a past timeline or a future timeline or a present timeline. So last night I was watching a video that put out by one of the subscribers that I have, and I just got to let everybody know here, there's YouTube has been a blessing, and it's been a pain in the ass as well. When you put yourself out here every day or every other day to either talk about farming or farm or share your opinion on politics and other things like that, you are opening yourself up for major criticisms by people who just are very, very different than you, and they will attack, and they will praise, they will attack, and they will just or share your opinion or be blindly obedient to every word that you say. Now, I don't want people to be blindly obedient to every word that I say. This is where a lot of people get turned around in their lives. So, like me, there are people that admire me. God knows why. I don't know why, really, honestly. I'm just a person that puts a camera in his face and talks nonsense all day long, But it's not nonsense in my head, and maybe it's not nonsense in your head. But I'm a free thinker. I think for myself, I have the power of free thought, and to be able to listen to something and deduce its value, see what is crap and what is valuable. And, even for people watching us right now, I'm sure there's some people rolling their eyes into the back of their head because they just don't want to hear me talk about what I'm talking about. And that's okay. You can click off now. It's all right. You don't have to click the like, subscribe button on this video. This is just really for loyal subscribers that watch everything that I post, whether it's uber interesting or not interesting at all. They just watch because they like to hear what I have to say. But if you're one of those people that can't think for yourself and you just follow a line, like, oh, well, this is the way my dad did it, this is the way my grandfather did it, this is the way my great-grandfather did it, and then you never advance in your own mind or your own ways and become yourself, you need to change that behavior right now. We are all individuals. I look at my life and I think, am I part, I kind of know who I am. I've studied who I am by my family lines and stuff. But my grandparents died when I was fairly young. My grandfathers did. My grandfather Pandy, he died when I was 9, and my other grandfather, he died when I was 20. Yeah, he died in 92. So I was 20, 9, and 20. So when you're 20, a young man at 20, or a young man at 20, you're still bumbling around trying to figure out which way you're going to go. Now, there's a lot of people that think they know which way they're going to go. I mean, really, honestly, they do. But the reality of it is, are they really happy when they get to where they are going? So I've always known in my mind that I would be in agriculture in some way or another. And if you told me at 20 that I would be, growing mulch and running all over the countryside, baling and doing this stuff, I would have told you, you're crazy. I'm not doing that. I knew I wasn't going to be a dairyman. Not that I didn't know much about it. Just that there's no money there. There's no money. There's no freedom. There's no options to do other things when you're a dairy farmer. You're kind of tied to those cows, and you can never get more than a few hours away from them because they're calling you back to be milked at that point. Twice a day, sometimes 3, depending on who you are. But anyways, this morning I got up and I was finishing a video that I had started watching last night. And at the end of the video, the man showed a thing that looked like a broom, but it's not. It's not a broom. It's a thing to take the snow off of your car in the wintertime. He lives in Maine. R. Peak is his name, and I like Richard. I think he's an inspiration to everyone. I guess you would consider him a minimalist. He doesn't have the fanciest stuff, nor does he want the fanciest stuff. He doesn't drive a fancy car, nor does he want to drive a fancy car. But he's very, I would use the word talent, but I don't think it's talent. I think it's just determination. He's very determined to do things his way, and sometimes they fail, sometimes he succeeds. And I find him to be an awesome banjo player, and that is the reason I started to watch Mr. R. Peak. If you want to check him out, it's lowercase r, P-E-E-K, R. Peak. He just does things to the beat of his own drum, and I like that. I like that because he can take a piece of junk and make it run. He can, even if he doesn't make it run, he gives it a valid effort. And that's where a lot of young folks just give up. It's like, oh, that's rusty. I'm not ever going to drive that. Or that thing's, I don't know how to adjust a carburetor. I'm just going to go get a fuel-injected car or whatever. And that's some of the reasons why I watch it. But anyways, he was talking about this thing, this ice scraper, snow scraper that he had in his hands. And it was given to him by another YouTuber. And that kind of spurred me to do this video. Because as a YouTuber of 11 years, December 8th, which is, I believe, today. Yeah, December 8th, I'm looking right at it. I think today is the day that I am on YouTube for 11 years. There you go. He was talking about this fellow that had given him this thing, and then poof, he's gone. Well, over the years, I have conversed with many different people from many different parts of the world in this 11 years, and sometimes they're there for a very long time. Sometimes they're there and you converse with them regularly, even though they don't make videos, and then poof, they're gone one day. So there was one YouTuber person that he didn't make videos, but he was a fireman out of Maryland, and he sent me a few photographs of a project that he was doing. He was carving wood, and I've had several wood carvers send me stuff. To be honest with you, I get some really neat things over there on a thing, and I don't generally show those online because it's kind of an intimate thing between me and the person that sends it. But anyways, he had sent me some photographs, and it was a carving of my 4960 pulling a New Holland baler, because that's what I had at the time. And it was not the 9080 or even the 90 or the 340s, either of those. It was the BB 960A. And he had these things carved out, and he was going to paint them. And, they were painted. I remember them painted, and then he said that he was going to send me these things, and then poof, gone. And I thought, I guess he decided he liked them too much and didn't want to send them out. Well, a 3 months goes by, and this person responds. He says, "Oh, I got really, really sick. I'm sorry that I could not send you the carvings, these things." Now, they weren't little. I mean, we're talking big stuff. Like the tractor was, at least 16 to 18 inches, and the baler was every bit that big as well, maybe a little bigger, because balers are actually longer than tractors. So I was like, oh my God, what happened? He says he contracted some virus or some damn thing, and basically ate away all of his muscle and fat, and he was a mess, And I was like, well, just don't worry about it. Can I help you in any way? And no, I'm okay. My insurance took care of it, and blah blah blah. So we talked for a while, and then he disappears again for a few months, and I thought, man, I wonder what happened to this guy. And then, out of the blue, I get an email. And I thought it was from him because we had conversed back and forth by email. And it wasn't. It was his wife. Here he was a firefighter. He was a paid firefighter. And when he was healthy enough to get back to work, he was working out and doing what he needed to do for himself to get back into the job. He fell through the floor of a building and was burned over, like 90% of his body was burned. And please pray for my husband is what I got. And I'm like, holy shit, is this real? So I sent a couple of emails back to this person, and they just never responded back, and he was gone. Now, I got a pretty good idea that he passed away. 90% of your body being burned is pretty tough. And I've had other YouTubers disappear, and then come back a while later like, oh yeah, I had to take a break from YouTube because I had more important things to do. Well, I get that. YouTube is just a platform to watch people like me make videos and stuff, and it's kind of weird, but that's just the way it is. So I never did receive the carvings or anything. Not that it's okay, because that's something that he did, and I hope that his children, I think he had some young kids too, if I remember right. I mean, we're talking 8 years ago, at least 8 years ago this had happened, and I never received the carvings, which is fine, and I hope that they're on a shelf somewhere, or being played with by his children, or admired by his 8 years ago, so those kids are in their teens now. It's kind of crazy how fast time goes. But yeah, those kids are in their teens now, so maybe they played with them, maybe they just looked at them, and maybe their father did live and just, couldn't bother with YouTube anymore and just forgot about it, realized how meaningless it really truly is in the end. I mean, there's a lot of people that just go to YouTube because their lives are so miserable that they go live their life through others. Now, I'm not meaning that in a bad way. I'm just saying that, if there are people that did the jobs that I do that no longer can, and they live their lives through my videos, which I am honored and flattered that you would find me that interesting, that you would, do that. That's just the way it is. But the internet can be a really tricky place with tricky people, and sometimes they're in the back of my mind. I can think of several different ones that were kids and grew up, got on with their lives. I see them on Facebook, but they no longer even comment on YouTube. I mean, think about this. You take a 10-year-old kid or a 13-year-old kid that watches my videos when I was in the heyday of my video making back, when it was okay to blow stuff up, and when it was okay to shoot guns, and when it was okay to play tricks on people that, were maybe not so friendly. I mean, I played some tricks, and when it was just more fun. YouTube used to be a whole lot more fun, and now it seems like if it isn't scripted, they don't want it. If it's off the cuff and there's a few bits of language, they don't want it. And now, as of January 1st, you can't even make content for kids and get paid for it, which I find to be quite ironic. You have to be kid friendly. There's a lot of children that watch YouTube, right? So all these people that have done kid-friendly stuff, even though it's not really made for kids, kids can watch it, it then falls under the guidelines of made for children. And don't worry, my channel, this fucking place, is not made for children. I don't make this shit for children. If you're above 13 years old, you have a dirty enough mind now that you can understand what I'm talking about, even when I'm not talking about what I'm talking about. And the language, yeah, sometimes I get off the rails, and I do curse a little bit, but yeah, it is what it is. So, yeah, my advice to people that want to actually continue on YouTube and don't want to be automatically strucken as made for children, time to dirty it up a bit. But anyway, so YouTube has changed a lot over the years, and now I think they're actually going to regress a little bit because you can't have all child-friendly content because the U.S. government will get after you. And the fine is over $40,000. It's like $43,000. It's crazy. If I make a video and I get busted for making content for children on here and it's mislabeled, I can be fined $43,000 or so. It's like, I don't make that money. I don't make that kind of money on YouTube, so that would just shut my channel down. If you're making content for children, all that money is going to be yanked away. So, you know, it's like no more romper room. Anyway, I guess I've talked long enough. But Mr. R. Peak was wondering where that particular subscriber went. And I immediately thought to myself, well, he could have died, and his family didn't know that he was so attached to a particular YouTuber, and they just disappear into the night. It's like, yeah, they just stop. They're just gone. And sometimes when you do find out that someone had died or got hurt or, you know, became so incapacitated by life that they couldn't continue to watch or comment, it's hurtful. It does hurt. You know, because you become, you develop relationships with your subscribers, and not so much anymore after 11 years in. I don't, because there just isn't the time of the day to deal with people the way they would like you to interact, or interact with people the way you would like to interact with them. There just isn't. It just isn't there, and I don't know. Maybe it gets people upset that you don't respond. It's like, well, who do you think you are? You're just a YouTuber. You're right. But when you got, on a daily basis, I have between 25 and 35,000 subscribers, or 25 to 35,000 people looking at one video that I post. Unless it's a video like this, then nobody watches it because they like to see machines and stuff. They don't like to see me here talking about my wife and other stuff. And I'm probably just going to post this on Ag Talking Raw because it's a good place for this one. It's 22 minutes long, and there's really not a lot of people that watch Ag Talking Raw because it's just me talking. And for the, I mean, it's not a bad channel. It isn't, but it just isn't what One Lonely Farmer's for. And I honestly would like to start another channel. Yeah, as silly as that may be, I would like to start a channel that highlights the end of the week, because there's people that watch my channel every day, the vlog part of it, and they're like, oh, well, it becomes boring because you're watching a very broad spectrum of my life. It's a project I'm doing that I start in the morning and end at night, or, you know, we're making hay and doing that stuff. So I was thinking of doing a highlights video at the end of that week, like on a Sunday, and putting it on One Lonely Farmer, and which I could very well do, and just maybe expand the One Lonely Farmer channel, or, you know, or just gain a bunch of subscribers by seeing the compressed portion of my channel, of my blog. Maybe people will be bored by it. I don't know, because they're going to be seeing a lot of the same clips, and there's going to be added stuff and stuff taken away, and it'll be just like a minute of time from, you know, 10 different clips, a minute and a half of 10 different clips of my week, you know, or 2 clips from every day of my week compressed into whatever it is I'm doing at the end of the week. And I don't know if people would want to watch that or not, but or I just produce a whole new channel which mimics what, say, How Farms Work is doing, or what Millennial Farmer's doing, or what other YouTube channels are doing, and off the cuff, I can't think of too many. Welker Farms does a lot of that same thing too. They'll have these projects going, and then instead of posting a daily blog as to what's going on the farm on a daily basis, they just take a week or two and they compress it into a 12-minute video, and boom, it's out there. I don't want to be accused of copying, but back in the heyday of YouTube, that's what I used to do. You know, I didn't make a video every day. I made a video once a week, once every other week. And that's how I started. And then I decided, you know what? Once a week is good. So I would do that. It was either on a Monday or a Wednesday. And then Google, YouTube, sent me a really nice letter and like, hey, we like what you're doing, but if you want to grow your channel, you need to do this as often as possible. Like 3 times a week would be great. You would be considered a serious YouTuber at 3 times a week. So that's what I did, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay? So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I had stuff with my children, projects that we did, stuff that I did in those days, and it worked out really good. And then they monetized my channel, and they're like, hey, the more content that you put out, the more money you're going to make, and the more recognized you will be. And I think at about year 5, I really just decided, you know what? This 3 videos a week is good, but let's go with the full Monty. Let's go to 6 or 7. And I did. And I've been there ever since. Now, it seems like the viewership has declined because people don't want to see a video every day. And they certainly don't want to see 3-4 videos a day. That is like insane. I cannot do that. I don't even watch people that do that, with the exception of RPeak. RPeak, and I don't watch everyone that RPeak puts out, but RPeak puts out 3, 4, 5 videos in a string. He's up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he posts these 3 or 4 videos that he made for the day before, and they're short videos. They're only 3 to 5 minutes, and you watch 1 or 2 of them, or if you can, or I've gotten so that I only watch 2 or 3 a week, just because I don't have the time to watch all those videos. So 1 video a day, more than enough for a respectable YouTube channel. But I'm thinking that now, with the way people are, they don't want to watch even 1 a day. They want to watch. I know if I skip a couple of days, that next video is like, what has he been doing? Where's he going? Why is he doing this? And it gets pretty decent numbers, get up into 40,000 views in a 24-hour period, because people are interested as to what happened, unless it has to do with Teresa. That I don't know how many views did I get on that. I don't even remember. Let me take a look. Now let's see. We got this guy, Miss Teresa. We'll just go back there. I don't think she even got. Oh, what is this? That 17,000 views on Teresa's surgery. Nobody cares. I say nobody cares. About half the people that normally watch my channel cared about Teresa. She's a big part of the farm. I mean, she really is, and it would have sucked if she died. She had every intention of dying. That's how she went in there. She's like, I'm going to die. Make sure you take care of my son, our son. Make sure he goes to church and stuff like that. That's what was very important to her. So, and I don't love church. I don't. But I guess if she kicked off, I'd had to take William to church, because that's just what she would have wanted. And I'd have been miserable. Maybe he'd be miserable too. I don't know. It's his choice, I guess. But whatever. Anyways, see ya. 30 minutes of this. I can't believe anybody's still here.